Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. Today I have a pleasure of speaking with Ola Kunysz, a hyperactive and optimistic software engineer, clean code evangelist, and mentor. With a wealth of experience in the IT sector and passion for preventing burnout, Ola has dedicated her career to helping others achieve balance and fulfillment in their professional lives. So, today we're going to discuss her journey, insights on maintaining employee engagement, and how to avoid burnout. Welcome, Ola. It's great to have you here.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to share my experience, my knowledge, but also my personal history of burnout.
Yeah, thank you for being agreeing to be my guest, because that's also not a very easy topic, I would say, to also talk about your burnout experiences, and I really admire your courage, and yeah, I'm very thankful. So to kick things off, Ola, you have an impressive background in software engineering and mentoring. Can you share your career journey and also what drew you to this field?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that. I'm not one of those people who started coding when they were 8 years old or something. I had really diverse interests when I was in my primary school. So I was interested in math, but also in arts, but also in sports. So it was really not obvious from the beginning that I was planning to be a software engineer. But then I decided to study computer science. I studied in Poland. Then I got a scholarship. I went to US for computer science, for Master of Science in Computer Science. And then I started coding full time because I worked during my university time. I was a technical consultant. I conducted trainings for my professors and not only. But then I decided that it's time to do some coding because I really enjoyed software engineering. And I worked in this, I've been working in this field for many, many years. And right now, I'm doing kind of a switch, which is not changing my career, but rather extending that and going to these soft topics. I studied positive psychology this year, and it's it's really a journey for me right now. It's great to see how those puzzles come together, to see how engineering is not only about machines and technical stuff, but also about people. It's more about people than machines right now, especially when we have AI and everyone is talking about AI taking over our jobs, etc. It's really important to focus on soft skills. And this burnout topic is really important for me because I went through burnout myself a couple of years ago, and I won the fight with burnout, and I enjoy programming. So right now I'm sharing this knowledge, this experience with my mentees.
Yeah, what you said about, positive psychology, but also experiencing background, that makes me think about, was it burnout that made you this shift from purely technical work to addressing more software, more human aspects of working in technology? Or was it also something different, like your personal interest or anything?
Mm-hmm. So I've been always interested in psychology, in soft topics. But after the burnout, I actually came back to software engineering. So that was not the shift right there. So I went through burnout, I went to therapy, and when I was sure that I have that under control, I just went back to my previous project and I worked as a software engineer for very long time after that. So it was not like the burnout finished software engineering for me, and I needed to look for something new. It was rather like the experience of burnout added some extra interest. So I actually started talking about it because I've been sharing knowledge on conferences and meetups for a very long time, and I started talking about burnout topic a couple of years ago. But actually, there was not much interest in IT industry, so people were like curious about my story, but they didn't really relate to that. And a couple of years later, when I got invitation for TEDx in Koszalin, I decided that burnout will be my topic. And after this talk, people came to me, started sharing stories, started asking questions, and there was a time when the topic of burnout actually started growing in IT industry. There was a big research in Poland conducted 2022, I believe. So the awareness of this topic is much bigger now than it used to be a couple of years ago.
That's also very interesting from the perspective of the topic that we're going to discuss today. I mean, yeah, preventing burnout, but also employee engagement. Because I was going through the research, and from the Gallup Institute, Gallup Institute provided the report, and they showed that employee engagement remains at 23%, like globally. So, well, it's not a lot. I mean, you share that on your also Instagram. I remember the data about the employee engagement. What are your thoughts about, on these statistics, and how can organizations improve these numbers, or can they improve these numbers?
So these numbers are tragic, in my opinion. Poland is even worse, because in Poland, I think it was 10% of people who are engaged at work. So this is not really positive, but I cannot blame people, because there is so much stress, there is so much pressure, there are crazy deadlines and scopes, and everything is changing. And the industry, not only IT, but like the whole work market is just crazy. So people just started burning out because they cannot stand that, because we are not machines. So some of them are doing something which is called quiet quitting. So they are not engaged at all. They just go to work every day and they just don't care, which is not really healthy, because engagement is not only necessary for employees, for employers, but also for employees, because we need engagement to feel that we do things that matter, that we belong somewhere, we change something in the world. Without that, it's really hard to accomplish like the balance and well-being. You can try to do quiet quitting and go to work and accomplish nothing and pretend that it doesn't bother you, but it bothers you actually. So it's really important to take care of the engagement at work, and we can do it as employees. We can increase our engagement. There are tools to do that, to look for the meaning in your current projects, to connect with your team more. So you are part of something. You have more positive relations at work. There are more positive emotions around it. But also there is a lot that employers can be doing, because we live in the world when we as employees need to be good enough to get the job, but we forget that we are looking for companies which will allow us to thrive, and only then we can present all our talents, and we can work with engagement, and we can be productive, etc. So there are a couple of things that we need at work. So we need fairness, for example. We need this belonging, this autonomy. We need to feel like we accomplished something. And employers sometimes think that they will just add extra cash or add some bonuses and that's it. And we will be more engaged. And this is not true because we as humans, of course, when we get bonuses, it's nice, but we need to take care of the base. So the work needs to be clear. It needs to be fair. We need to have good relationships in the team, etc. Because without that, those extra bonuses and whatever we do to make people happy, it will be just funny for most of the people.
Yeah, you mentioned very important things like the work that we are doing needs to be clear, and about the relationships, that relationships with our teams are also like crucial and impact our overall engagement. Um, and what I'm also thinking about is like how much like employee actually has the kind of possibility to impact these things. I mean, sometimes you can communicate that, okay, I need a clear structure, but it's ignored. It's ignored sometimes, yeah. Very often it's ignored. They're like, yeah, I'll come back to you. We can discuss it on the meeting, and then the topic is like gone because there's like 100 other topics which are more important. So, yeah, how we can take care of ourselves as employees.
So you mentioned something really important, that you try to do something, but you don't have control over it. And that's really important thing to notice here. So if we have control, or at least we feel that we have control, then we need to act. So we feel good about ourselves. So we raise our hand. We say our thoughts. We propose something new, which we believe that will help. But if it's ignored and if it's not taken into consideration, it's not our fault and we don't have control over it. So we don't need to stress over it. So we did everything that was possible to make our work better. But if it's ignored, then our control stops here. And the rest, what we can do is just releasing stress, because there is no point of stressing about the situations that we don't have control over. It will just waste our energy. And if we constantly use our energy on things that we don't control, then we will feel exhausted and nothing will actually change. So it's better to focus on those things that we can control. We can control our way of working at least to some point. We can control the tasks that we pick or the tasks that we share with others. We can control our relationships inside the team. At least half of the relationship is on our side. So we have many things that we can control, and we should focus there to make tiny changes. Because like feeling engaged and at work is not about like having this perfect workplace and having this perfect project and doing everything the best. It's about those tiny pieces that that match together. So at the end of the day, you feel like you did a good job. And that's it. It's not about like changing everything so it suits you. It's rather making those small changes so you can thrive, even though the circumstances are not perfect, because they never are.
Yeah, you're right. And what you mentioned about, focusing on the things that you have control over instead of focusing and energizing the things that you don't have control over and just stressing about them, um, is a mindset shift, actually. I would like to ask about, okay, so how to like focus on the things that we have control and how to like, differentiate it. But I think it's more like self-awareness, yeah, and like a hard mindset shift work.
Yeah. This is a kind of like beliefs we carry around. I like to say that we have this suitcase that we carry from one employer to another, and what's in this suitcase, it really affects your way of working, your burnout risk, your engagement, etc. There are habits, there are beliefs, there are your way of working, and you have full control over that. So sometimes you need to learn something about your beliefs. Sometimes it's not enough. You need a therapy, or you need to do some work about it. But sometimes knowing is enough. So you realize that you have this strange way of talking to people, that they think you're angry even though you're not, and you cause a lot of conflict in the team. So just knowing that and trying to changing the way you communicate with other people, this will be enough. So you don't need to go to therapy, or you don't need to long time work on it. You just change it immediately, because you realize how annoying this can be to other people, for example. But other things like perfectionism is not something that you can change overnight, right? You need to work on your beliefs and why you are a perfectionist, and try to change your habits. But we know how hard changing the habits is. So sometimes you just need the knowledge about yourself, about your beliefs, about your way of working. Sometimes it's bigger tasks to do. Sometimes you need to go to therapy to change the way you work, but it will help for sure any of those actions, because half of the risk of burnout is yours, and half of the risk of burnout is caused by the company, the environment. So even though the environment can be really positive, and you have clear tasks, and you have great team, and you have great feedback, and you get extra money, and etc., but your beliefs are negative in this context, so you don't feel like you're doing enough, or you don't feel like you're doing good job, whatever it is, this can drown you from this can cause you a lot of energy, and then at the end of the day, even though the environment is positive, you have problem with engagement in this particular place.
And coming back to the engagement topic, you already mentioned some of the key factors that drive the engagement in the workplace. But what are these? What are the key factors that drive engagement in the workplace?
So there are 6 main areas of work life. I believe it comes from Christina Maslach and Martin. I don't remember his last name, but we will link that in the description. And they say that we need to have those 6 areas which are covered, or they are rather aligned with us. And those are workload, control, reward, community, fairness, and values. So values are the most surprising for me here, because for me it was obvious for many years in IT industry that if I don't feel like my job matters, in the big picture, so my company is doing something positive to the world, I will not be as positive about this work as in another company. But they say that it's really important. So you have values which are aligned with the company, so you don't feel like you're doing something against your personal values. This is really important. Fairness. You are treated fairly. Also, you get feedback. You are part of the organization which is fair not only for you but also for others. Community, being part of something, being part of a great team, having those relationships. Reward, Not only you're getting paid for what you're doing, but also you're getting positive feedback, you're getting positive emotions for working there, etc. Control, we've already covered that topic. So if you don't feel like you have control, you have autonomy at work, this will be a big burning factor. And the workload. So I think this is the most obvious when we think about burnout, that people are overworked and they worked too much, and deadlines are crazy and scopes are crazy, and that's why people burn out. But as you can see, there are 6 things and not just one that need to be covered and need to be aligned to like be fully engaged at work.
So I summarize because I also need to remember it for myself. So it's workload, control, reward, values, fairness, and community. I probably like mismatch the order, but the most important is like, yeah, to take care of the workload, to feel that you're in control, to have a fair reward, or like have the reward that satisfies you, to do something that connects to your values. Fairness, again, that's connected, I think, with reward also.
Yeah.
And community, yeah. And how can actually like managers and leaders create this kind of environment that is fostering engagement and enthusiasm among team members? Yeah.
First thing is just to realize that those are things that are important and not like bonuses or some things that we do to like increase engagement, even though they are not part of the like core things at work. We just want our offices, for example, to look nice, and we don't care about positive feedback, for example. So we need to focus on those 6 areas. So we need to realize that feedback is very important, that feedback from the employee and listening to this feedback is also important. So people feel that they are heard, they have control. The thing that you mentioned at the beginning, if you come from with the feedback over and over again, and you're not heard, or you're heard but you're ignored, then you don't feel like you have control. And also, if you change something and you bring this positive change to your company, it's also rewarding. So it doesn't need to be external reward. Like doing great job is rewarding enough. Like I said, engagement is really important for us to feel like we're doing great, and work is really important area of our life. So if we feel that we are doing great at work, it will affect how we feel outside of our work. That's why burnout is so tricky, because burnout is not only about feeling bad at work. So you feel exhausted, you don't feel like you belong there, you're very cynic, for example, in your team, but then you come back home and you're happy. It doesn't happen, because your burnout at work affects the rest of your life. So it affects your family life, it affects your hobbies. You probably too tired to do anything creative after work, and it drains you from energy long term. So if you don't stop it there, if you don't stop burnout where it starts, then it can lead to serious diseases and other problems. But I think we'll come back to that.
Yeah, that's what actually leads us to the part about burnout. Because despite efforts to like engage employees, or maybe sometimes companies that they just don't put too much attention into that, especially in the time when we have like a lot of redundancies. So maybe part of the companies is also like thinking like, oh, the job market is like getting worse, so now we can do whatever we want. Well, I wouldn't go that path, but Yeah, because then we will again have the problem of the global burnout, and that will make like significant issues. So I want to like understand what are and what were your signs of burnout, and how we can be like more aware of those. Yeah, how, so what are basically common signs of burnout?
Mm-hmm. So for me, but also for many people in industry, exhaustion is something that pops up. So if you feel exhausted, if you feel like you don't have any strength, both physically and mentally, you don't want to make any decisions, you don't want to try something new, you don't want to do anything extra, just bare minimum. This is the red flag, and this is actually I discovered that I'm going through burnout because of that. Because I thought that it's just exhaustion, and I went to my boss to ask if I can work part time during the summer. And then we started talking, and he asked me about, like, not only about the reason, but also what's behind it. And because he was from Sweden, he was more aware about those problems a couple of years ago. In Poland, it was like very new topic. There were not many specialists regarding mental health who took care of burnout. So it was like very fresh. But fortunately, I had a boss who taught me that it can be burnout, and not only exhaustion, and not only like the moment of weakness or something like this, because I've seen it that people think that it will just pass if they just do nothing, because they are just tired and that's it, and everything will be back to normal in a couple of months. But probably it will be not if we don't take care of that. The second red flag is when you feel depersonalized. So you don't feel like you belong to your team, you don't care about your project anymore. You just you're just doing bare minimum, and that's it. That's your way of working. I also experienced that, but it was not so obvious at the beginning. At the beginning, I thought that it's all because I didn't have any like energy, and that was the root cause for that. But actually, it's the second red flag. And the third red flag is negative self-evaluation. So if you feel like you don't know anything, or you cannot work as effectively as before, if you are very negative about your career, about your plans, future plans, it can be imposter syndrome. So anything that leads you to the opinion that you're not good enough, basically. So this is the third red flag. And if you have all three, that it means that probably it's time for therapy, or time for taking care of your health. And it's not only about, like, burnout is not only about your head and something that happens in your head. Of course, it can lead to depression, and that's why it's so serious, because it can lead to more serious problems. Burnout is not a disease, but depression is. So it can lead to the disease, but also to other diseases, to problems with sleep, with digestion, with hormones, with immune system. So it can lead to many diseases in your head and in your body, basically. So it's really important to take care of that when you see one or two flags, and not when you have three of them and you already done, basically. So you don't want to go to work, you don't feel like anything makes sense, and you just want to quit and go wherever. And I think for me, like the like the biggest difference between just wanting to quit my job and being burned out was that the idea of like changing the project, going to some interview and getting new job was not exciting. I was just almost depressed about it. So it was very hard for me to even imagine going to the interview. So it was not exciting as it used to be. I've seen that as a problem.
That's very interesting
Mm.
that you mentioned that. I mean, about like not like okay, you quit your job, but or you're still in your current environment,
Mm.
um, but you're so like exhausted and so tired and so demotivated that you actually even like you don't think that changing the place will solve the problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
you also mentioned that you somehow managed to go through burnout and yet came back to the software engineering. So, how long did it take? Like, the overall, what did you do to like, you know, um, kind of deal with that period of, oh my God, I don't want to do anything. I'm so exhausted. I'm so, not engaged. I'm so like negative about myself. How your journey looked like of recovery, of healing.
So I think it was pretty fast for me. I'm not sure if it's because I started from the therapy and then I knew what needs to be done after a couple of weeks. Or is it because I love experimenting and I went to all weird activities. I started doing yoga. I started meditating. I started doing some like not productive things, let's say, that I really avoided for a very long time. So everything was about work, about being productive, about my career for a very, very long time. And then I started doing things that my opinion about them was maybe not silly, but not productive, let's say that. And when I started doing things just for pure pleasure of doing them and not for like being productive or learning anything or doing progress in any field, then I started the recovery because I gained the pure pleasure of just doing things, and I remembered how it is to like feel the pleasure, because this is also the problem of burnout, that you don't feel the pleasure, but you also don't want to feel the pleasure because you are in this place and you don't even think about what is pleasurable for you because you don't remember, and you did so many things just for your career and just for your personal growth, etc., that you forgot that you have this joyful things that you need as well. This part of you which just needs a little bit of pleasure, of joy, of wasting time and doing nothing and just playing, do whatever is relaxing for you. And it doesn't mean that you need to like find a new passion or find a new hobby. It can mean that you try many new things every day. And actually, this is what I did. I tried, I don't know, 20 new things, and I learned a couple of them, but it was not for like personal growth, but it was rather for just for having fun.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, what you mentioned about yoga and meditation and like breathing exercises, that helps. And I want to touch the topic of women experiencing burnout in the tech industry because do you think like we women are like more prone to burnout? And if yes, are there any like specific challenges that we face and how we can overcome them?
Mm-hmm. So yes and no. No, because data shows that the level of burnout and the risk of burnout is almost the same as for men. But yes, because we burn out in different way. So it mostly the most common for women is exhaustion. So we are just extremely tired, and because we are so perfectionists, and we are people pleasers mostly, and we are taught to be strong and do great job no matter what. What you mentioned just a second before, that you cried, but then there was work to be done, so you just did the work. And so the way we burn out is a little bit different because of many other roles that we have as well. It's not only about work, but it's also our personal life, family life. We usually take care of other things, our community, our parents, etc. Data shows that still, even though it's changing, women are mostly responsible for most of like family problems and community problems, etc. So that's why we are so exhausted. But because we are so eager to take the responsibility, even if it's without payment or without any reward, basically, because it's not only about getting paid, but also about positive feedback, about being rewarded with kind words, etc. So if we do this for a very long time, it can lead to burnout, but it's really hard to notice because you just feel like you're exhausted and that's it. I have too many things on my plate. But I cannot like release any of them because people need me and my family needs me and my coworkers need me, etc. So that's why it's very hard to see the burnout process, because you are so busy doing things that it's never the right time to stop and think about how you feel, to see if you have those burnout signs, if you have any warning signs, etc.
The moment you like stop for some time and just have the time to reflect, I think these are the moments when you actually like realize, oh well, look, I think something's wrong. So yeah, I can completely agree. And also what you mentioned about the responsibilities we are taking on ourselves, I think there is also like this kind of, societal expectations that, if you're a woman, you have to take care of the family, you have to support, this or that person, you have to be a good friend, you have to be amazing wife, you have to be amazing employee, you have to be like, like almost you have to be like perfect because I don't know. The society tells you, just, I think, needs to handle everything. And that's a part of your life. That's just a part of your life that you need to take care and save the world and take care of everyone around. So I think that's also kind of, leading uh, to kind of a burnout and like making women more and more and more exhausted. Um, and we know all of that. So, how can organizations better support women in tech to ensure they thrive both professionally and personally?
It's a tricky one. So because we are so overwhelmed and we are so busy, even if organizations or leaders ask us if everything is all right, we will probably say it's fine. So that's part of the problem. But getting regular feedback from employees, from female employees, look if they need help, if they feel that they have control over their work, if they are not like doing everyone else's job and not their own, because this also leads to burnout when you help everyone else but then at the end of the day, your job is not done. So your tasks are in progress, and you helped 10 people, but then at the end of the month, they all forget about it, and they only remember that your tasks were not delivered. Also, being part of the community, of a team, I feel that for us, those two points about fairness and values are even more important. So if we work in a place which is unfair, it will burn out faster than our male colleagues, for example, because it's just really important for us personally. This is not the data. This is just my personal feeling, but the data shows that more women are exhausted at the end of the day than men. So probably they have a lot on their plate, not only at work, but also outside of the work, like we said. But probably at work, we are also overloaded. So trying not to overload women at work, trying to find support for them, giving them positive feedback, giving them opportunity to change something, to have control over the way we work. This will lead to like more engagement and being just happier at work, if I can say that.
The next question is more about like individuals, because what companies can do, this is one thing, but um, you've worked and you're still working with ambitious individuals in IT. So can you share any anti-burnout techniques or tools that are effective, basically, from your experience?
We should start from the base, which is diet, sleep, and physical activity. And I know it sounds like it's another 3-step to get healthy article or something, but it's true. And if we don't start with a base, and if we don't take care of our bodies, it will be very hard to relax, to take breaks. Because if you, for example, do yoga every day and use these relaxing techniques and do meditation, but you eat a lot of sugar, it will be very hard to focus, and it will be very hard to communicate well and to communicate with yourself, because lots of negative self-talk will be happening in your head. So this base of like taking care of your body is really important. Then, like we mentioned many times, some physical activity. Yoga is my personal favorite, but of course, if you hate yoga, you don't need to force yourself to cause even more stress. You can pick something else. You can take a walk. You can dance to your favorite music, whatever makes you happier than before. So any physical activity that brings you joy, that brings you pleasure. Taking breaks is really important. So not sitting at your desk for 8 hours straight, but stretching your legs from time to time, moving around, changing the view. So not switching from computer to phone and the other way around, but also look outside, look at trees, I don't know, something green. This is something that we actually know from some trainings. When we join the company, they usually have training about good workplace, but we completely ignore that, and then it comes back with some podcasts or some biohacking things, and then it's something new and amazing for us. But it's actually something that we know about from very long time, that we need to take breaks, that we need ergonomic environment, that we need to switch context from time to time, not sit for 8 or more hours straight, eat regularly, etc. And if we do that, it's much easier to avoid burnout, because even if you go to therapy, but you ignore completely how you feel, you completely ignore your body, the change will not happen, or it will happen very slowly. And I think that's why it took me only a couple of months to recover from burnout, because I took care of my body mostly. Of course, it was mental work as well, but mostly I took care of my physical well-being.
Yeah, that's very important what you just said, and I can confirm. I mean, my main focus, like right now, even like right now, is like I call it like the morning egoism block. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like wake up, meditation, affirmation, walk, shower, and breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my perfect morning. And that's like, and I'm trying like not to learn during that time when I'm like walking. If I feel like I, for example, need something like a calm music or the affirmation, I'm doing that, but I try not to be effective. And for example, right now, so when I'm like, walking in the morning, I have to listen to the podcast. No, the first
Mm-hmm.
90 minutes or 45 minutes of my day is actually time for myself and my head and just silence. Yeah. Because later
Mm-hmm.
in the day, we are, yeah, getting into like a lot of, external sources and, everyone are talking. There is like this social media overwhelming with the posts and reels and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I think it's very important what you just said about this physical activity, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like different with, for example, like ADHD, because sleep for ADHD people is not very easy. I mean, if you're in a hyperactive mode, it's hard to get to sleep sometimes. So, um, yeah, the power naps, for example, are helping me. If I don't sleep enough during the night, I need to. I feel like my body just needs this 30 minutes of the power nap during the day. And diet and sugar, oh my god, this is the game changer. Actually, this is the game changer, because I love sweets and I could, sweet things on like every meal, but I know that it doesn't serve me. So I need to yeah, actually get rid of all the sweets that I had at home. No chocolate, no, any other things. Peanut butter, also no go. So yeah, but once you know your triggers and once you know that something doesn't serve you, I think you can just make it easier in the beginning and just get rid of those instead of trying to build the trust to yourself, which is already like gone because you actually, yeah, in the time when you need to restore yourself.
Like you said, building those habits, especially in the morning, is really important because you're building your base, and no matter what happened later, you're prepared for that. And I noticed that when I went for conferences. Because usually when I was at home, I have many good habits. But when I go somewhere else, when I travel, I usually start my day with coffee, with something sweet or nuts. And then because I have like speech or something, then I'm nervous. So I cannot really eat anything, any proper breakfast or lunch. So I'm hungry the whole day. And then I finish my speech and I just collapse because all of my strength was focused on this speech. And because of my base was ruined, so there was no physical activity, there was no proper food, there was a lot of caffeine, which is not really like positive when you drink it in the morning and you don't eat anything. And it brings you cortisol, which you already have because there is something happening on the conference. And then I realized that it's not a way to go, that I need to keep my habits that I have from home, even if I travel. And if I do that, no matter what happens, I'm more prepared. I build my resilience to stress. So even though I need to give the speech, I need to go to big stage, etc., I feel like I'm better prepared because I had, for example, my breakfast. And it sounds silly, but it's really this important that I had my yoga, I had my breakfast, I had a walk. Whatever is in my habits list, because then this cortisol comes, but I'm more resilient to that, and I'm more resilient to stress. And stress actually is it's a cause for burnout. When you're constantly under stress, then it causes burnout. So whatever works to decrease the stress levels, because we are in times where it's really hard to avoid stress or avoid stressors. Even if you are a monk, probably you have some stressors. But the deal is to try to limit your reaction to stress, and also to release the stress when it happens. So physical movement is perfect for that, but also relaxation techniques. But relaxation techniques, breathing exercises, etc., it will be really hard when you don't move before them. So if there is any movement, it will be easier to relax. Even if you use relaxation techniques, I really recommend dancing or jumping around before them. So you release this cortisol like a dog. Look at what dogs are doing when they are stressed. They use the physical movement to just release the stress, and this is what actually we can do as well.
That's very interesting what you said, that before meditation, we actually need some movement. Yeah, I'm going to try that also, so noted.
So I've tried meditation before my training, yoga or whatever, and after, and it's way easier after. So it works for me. I mean, data shows it, but also I tried it on myself.
Okay. Very, very, very interesting. I'll also try to do this and see how it will work. Um, yeah, so I think we gave like a lot of practical tips for, professionals to balance the need of rest and recovery with their ambitions. Um, yeah, but how we can, also like manage proactively the stress levels before burnout starts, actually. I think we also covered that, but maybe you have other ideas.
I will come back to this idea of having your beliefs and your habits and your ways of dealing with situations. You can dig deeper there and see what causes more stress and what's actually helping with stress, because stressors are everywhere. And we deal with stressors every day, even if you go to work, or even if you're doing I don't know, shopping, or even online shopping can be stressful sometimes, because the shops are, the e-commerce platforms are not very friendly, for example, and you can get angry, etc. So it doesn't need to be like interaction with people. It can be whatever. And if you're overreacting, and if you're taking the stressor, which is really small, and you're frustrated about it, you shout at people, you call all your friends and complain about it, and you're making this stress so big, even though the stressor was really small. So if you notice that, you can ask yourself what you can do to limit the stress caused by the stressor, and if it's worth it. Because I'm coming back to the topic that was at the beginning. So if you don't have control over something, there is no point in stressing about it, or complaining about it, or going back and forth thinking about it, because you're using so much energy, but you're also generating so much stress. So if you can catch it there and ask yourself, is it does it make sense to think about it, to generate more stress? and then do something to release the stress. So go for a walk, dance, jump, whatever. And then change the perspective, because even if you take the deep breath and you come back to the same problem, probably it won't be the same problem. So it won't be as serious as you've seen it before. So, for example, if you're reading email and you think that it's angry and you started writing back angry response, it's always a good idea to like stop for a moment, go somewhere else, drink a glass of water, go for a walk, whatever, and then come back after a couple of minutes when your stress goes down, because usually you either completely ignore this email if you don't need to reply, or your reply will be just much more positive and it won't generate so much stress. So catching those moments when you're stressed, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, and think if there is anything you could do to prevent that, and then catch it earlier and earlier. And then you will eventually come to the point where something happens, and then you're just taking deep breath and you're like, no, it's not worth to fight here. Let's just ignore it. And this is perfect because you're saving so much energy and you're saving yourself so much stress, so much cortisol to deal with. And if you are under stress all the time and you're not moving and you're not releasing stress, it accumulates in your body, and it will not only cause burnout, but also it will cause many diseases, like I said, in regarding mental health or physical health, because this cortisol just hurts you in the long run. So it's not like cortisol is not bad for you. It's like really useful hormone, but having like cortisol overload for longer time, this is the problem. This is something that can cause serious trouble.
Yeah, you're right. And you mentioned, about beliefs and your thinking patterns. So, what role does the mindset play in preventing burnouts and maintaining, let's call it, high performance, or like engagement? Let's call it engagement. Yeah.
Having this mindset of being grateful to others and to yourself as well can prevent burnout. Being engaged in the team and in the project just for yourself, and realizing that it's not to change like the whole project, and you're not responsible for the whole project. You're doing that just to do what's right, because you want to feel right about it. You want to feel good about it. And realizing that you're human, you need to take rest, you need to take breaks during the day, and check what's going on in your body from time to time. This kind of mindset with like patience and not doing everything at once, and avoiding multitasking, and avoiding treating your work like it's like the most serious thing in the world. So you don't so if you take part in discussions, for example, you don't fight with people, you want to go to some solutions, to some conclusion. This will also change your mindset, because this will be the goal, will be to give whatever you have to solve the problem, and not to prove someone else wrong. So this is big mindset shift, which will also prevent burnout, because you won't be losing this energy to fights, because discussion or teamwork is not a fight. It's not who is smarter or who does a better job, but it's about solving problems. So if you focus on solving problems and giving whatever you have to do this, instead of fighting with anyone, because fight has this like a lot of energy required. Every time you want to fight with someone, with even if it's not your work, it's personal conflict, for example, it takes a lot of energy from you. So you want to avoid fighting. You want to avoid discussions which lead nowhere. Being productive, but doing that mostly for yourself, for remembering about your boundaries, about your job satisfaction, that you want to do something which is right for you, but also positive for the company. Help you avoid burnout in the long run.
Yeah, that's very important what you said about this kind of mindset of, work being more fun rather than uh, the most important thing in the world. And if you don't do this, then no one will do. Of course, there will be someone. Um, yeah, not to fight, but to create something, and not being against the whole world, but more like pro something. Yeah,
Yeah,
like finding yourself more mission to go towards something instead of running away or fighting
yeah,
against.
totally.
Yeah, yeah, everything. And as we are slowly like wrapping up, do you see any like emerging trends or new approaches in managing this employee well-being that you find particularly promising?
I think awareness is very promising. The fact that leaders start being interested in burnout topic, but also there are some apps among especially big companies to promote well-being, to promote balance, to navigate through mental health problems, and balance between work life and personal life, or doing what's necessary to be done, and learning new things or gaining new skills. This is very promising. And I think that if we are aware, and if leaders are aware of the problem of burnout, they know what are the red flags, what are the solutions or causes for burnout. It will be easier for them to manage people who just start feeling burnt out. And it's really important to be empathetic at this point, because if you know a lot of if you know a lot about burnout and you see a person who is going through the process, it's really important not to like jump straight to the solutions and give the person just a scenario with therapy and other tools, because this is like very sensitive topic, and for many people this will be hard to even talk about it. So it's really important to be empathetic here and to just offer help, but not force anyone to do anything. So rather promoting this awareness among teams, giving them opportunities to do something about it, create space, safe space to talk about it, but not forcing to deal with burnout instantly, because this creates like the feeling of rush, and that it's done for the company and not for the person. And people feel that people don't want to be treated like they need to come back fast because the company needs them, but rather they are treated as people. They are taken care of. Companies should realize that burnout is a common issue, and it's not employees' responsibility to take care of that, but it's on both sides. Because toxic environments can cause many people to burn out, and if companies don't do anything about it, people will just leave and burn out at this workplace. And like you said, even though it's easier to find employees right now, probably it's not a good investment in the long run to like have this huge rotation, because it doesn't create great teams and great products at the end of the day.
And good that you mentioned this, awareness that people and business is actually making, like starting to be like more aware of, well, yeah, there is a human factor in at work actually that we need to take care about, and not only results and goals and everything. I mean, I'm still, there is a part of me which is like very focused on results and goals and so on. But I'm also trying to like experiment more with, with this relax and fun and just don't putting too much pressure on myself, because it will not take you anywhere, in any good place. I mean, for our listeners, it will not take you to the place you want to be. I think it will take you to kind of very sad and actually like, not very, it's not nice to go for burnout. I mean,
Yeah.
Ola, yeah, you can. So I would recommend everyone to like avoid that, that stage in your career of being burnout. Um, and Ola, reflecting on your own career, what have been some of the like most rewarding work in preventing burnout and promoting positive psychology?
Mm-hmm. So working with people who go through burnout, and after a couple of weeks, they start being engaged at work, or they start being positive about their project, or remembering why they loved their what they are doing in the first place. That's really rewarding, and I really enjoy doing that. So mentoring is. I mean, I love coding and I love software engineering, but mentoring is another level of rewarding um, work, because you help people um, make progress, and that's even more rewarding than that making your own progress. Everyone who was a mentor at some point probably knows what I'm talking about, because looking at your mentees who grow, who make progress, it's really amazing. So I think I will come back to software engineering at some point, but I would really love to for that to be in some field connected to burnout or to mental health industry, because I feel like this is something that we really need right now. And I always wanted to like create software that matters. And I think right now mental health matters a lot, because depression is going to be like number one disease in the world before 2030. So I think mental health is like really something that we need to focus more on. So yeah, I think connecting those two areas is something that it's like finding missing puzzle for me. So software engineering is one thing, but mentoring and dealing with mental health issues and being part of the journey. Most of my mentees go through therapy as well. So this is great, because mentoring is not solving the same issues, but showing them my ideas and my paths and helping them to deal with burnout is like really rewarding. And I would love to use this knowledge in the long run. For example, creating some products or some apps, or whatever it is, for the future, so people don't burn out so fast, or they avoid it in the long run.
Yeah, that's very important. What you just said, both about like having this kind of mission of helping people and helping them avoid maybe the mistakes that we've made in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last few questions as we wrap up, what is like one key takeaway you hope our listeners will remember from our conversation today?
I really like this quote from John Kabat-Zinn, that we cannot stop waves, but we can learn how to surf on them. And this is really important when we deal with burnout. There are like lots of things that we don't control at work, in our beliefs. We bring something from school, from our families, and it's okay. This is the state we have, and we work with that. We work around it. So, for example, if you you cannot sleep for straight 8 hours, you try doing naps to deal with that. So instead of like feeling bad about not sleeping 8 hours, you find a solution. So this is the way to go, to do something small, even though the circumstances are not perfect, because they never are. There is always something that we can complain about, but instead focusing on something that we are grateful for, and taking action wherever we can, this will also prevent us from burnout. So doing whatever make us happier a little bit, relaxed a little bit, just doing those small changes, those small tweaks, wherever we can, wherever we have control over, this is really important. So I think if we do that, it will be easier for us to avoid the burnout in the long run.
Yeah, that's very important what you just said. And if we're talking about, something that makes us happy and something that makes you happy, what are upcoming projects or personal adventures that you're most excited about?
There are a couple of things. So a couple of projects that are like in progress, but I cannot tell more about them. But I'm really excited about what's happening on this new path of mine. This things connected with burnout, and especially I think I'm excited about mentoring new people and doing masterminds for people who go through burnout, because this works really well. But also I plan to work with some external organizations, and this is also exciting for me right now.
Very good, very good. I wish you a lot of successes on the way. And for our listeners who want to connect with you to learn more about your work, maybe collaborate with you, where they can find you online.
I'm really easy to find online, but main place I would say it's Instagram, and the second main is LinkedIn profile. So you can Google me and go to Instagram or LinkedIn profile and connect there. You can shoot me a message. You can also shoot me an email if you prefer it this way. We'll link. The page address in the description. But I'm really responsive in social media, so it's fine to write direct message here.
Good. Thank you, Ola. I'll link your profiles to the podcast episode. Thank you, Ola, for our conversation. Thank you for sharing your story, sharing your tools and techniques, how to manage difficult periods in your life. And I'm wishing you a lot of success and hope all will be the best and as you planned, and you will do as many things as you enjoy as you can.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.